So, folks, we gotta talk about Donald Trump because he is getting absolutely shellacked this week. He is not having a good week. And when I say that, I mean like the things he's doing make him look extraordinarily bad. Extraordinarily bad, right? Like, for example, this is just one thing on the docket. Salmon Moose, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs.
Wait, does TTS understand Roman numerals? MMXXII.
No, it does not. um, Illinois appeal for summer storm disaster relief denied by Trump administration. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell time, but last year during the summer, there was an incredible amount of rain in like Illinois that heavily taxed their sewer system and caused flooding that did damage. As a result, Governor Pritzker of Illinois uh, asked the Trump administration for disaster relief funds. Now, normally, this would just be an automatic process from the federal government. However, under Donald Trump, Trump has structured things so that he personally is the one to dole out disaster relief funds, like some kind of king. And you can see him do this in real time on his Truth Social feed, where he will graciously grant money to each state coming for disaster relief. It's pretty disgusting, to be honest. Like, this should just be something that the federal government does automatically. It shouldn't need a decree from Donald Trump to make it so. But he does not really care about that. He wants to aggrandize himself and make himself look good. But this kind of backfires when the Trump administration capriciously and arbitrarily decides, oh, well, no, we're not going to grant those disaster relief funds. Which, in this case, means that disaster relief funds for around 500,000 people in Illinois were denied because Donald Trump felt like it. Now, when did the natural disaster actually take place? Well, it actually took place back in August of last year. It is now February. It's been 6 months. 6 months of no money. Like, even if it was granted today, they still had to wait 6 months while dealing with the fallout of disaster before they got any help from the federal government. And I gotta be honest, guys, it's not the only problem that's happening. You know, with Donald Trump trying to make himself the I alone can fix it guy, the authoritarian guy, well, that really backfires when suddenly a lot of things start going wrong. And one of the big things that's been going wrong is that South Carolina has a record-breaking measles outbreak. That's a big problem because Donald Trump has basically set himself up as the anti-vax guy. Not only because he is one of the original anti-vax guys, and not only because a large portion of his base are anti-vax in the aftermath of COVID, but also because he's brought on a huge number of pseudoscientists to direct national policy regarding, medicine, which is a big problem. When you combine pseudoscience with medicine, you get non-functional medicine. And the thing about measles is it's not just some kind of like fun time, low-level infection that you get and then you're totally fine. That can, of course, happen. But in a lot of other cases, it gets a lot worse. And so South Carolina is starting to see cases where essentially, I forget the exact term for it, like encephalitis or something like that, where water begins to accumulate in the brain of these children. And that causes severe brain damage. And it can also result in death. And that's just one of the things measles can do, especially to kids. And, you've got effectively a bunch of people in this administration appointed by Donald Trump and co-signed by the entire Republican Party that are pushing the idea that, well, you don't need to vaccinate your kids if you're healthy and, you're eating right. It's totally fine to get sick if you're eating right. And it's because their entire thought process, their entire argument is effectively, hey, the strong will survive and the weak will perish. It's just blatant eugenics. It is the idea that if your kid dies, well, their bloodline was too weak to be allowed to live on. The death is part of their system. But the issue is that these outbreaks in South Carolina are starting to make them look really bad politically. And they don't really have that much problem, as people on the top, they don't have that much problem with people like us on the bottom dying as a result of measles. Or even if your kids start dying as a result of measles. But they do care about those poll numbers. And so, despite this being an anti-vax administration that is railed nonstop about the horrors and evils of, COVID vaccination and the idea that vaccines themselves are unsafe, and the fact that RFK Jr. has been pushing this idea that all vaccines should be like the Health and Human Services should stop advocating for any vaccine usage whatsoever. Despite all of that, it turns out, oh wait, what's that? Oh, Dr. Oz in this administration is now calling for people to vaccinate their kids against measles. And it's because it's starting to make them look bad. It's starting to make them look bad. When you've got an uncontrollable, highly infectious disease spreading like wildfire because a bunch of people believed these pseudoscientific quacks and didn't get their kids vaccinated, and now their kids are starting to die, it turns out that starts making them look really, really bad. And unfortunately, the problem with having this level of anti-vax sentiment is that you can suddenly, as a government official, suddenly change your mind and start advocating for people to vaccinate. But that doesn't actually lead to a huge spike in people vaccinating their kids, because you've already permeated the message against vaccination so deeply and so widely that it's not like this turnabout is not going to reach all the people it needs to. So it is really, really dangerous. Who are the weakest to measles? Children, of course. And it's really, I gotta be honest, it's really sad. Yeah, measles is one of the most infectious diseases we know of, by the way. It can hang in the air for hours after someone who's been infected has passed through it. And I believe it has a very long incubation period as well. So, it can survive outside of the human body for a very long time. The worst part is they know this is going to happen. Exactly. This is all done and calculated with the numbers in mind that, it's probably going to kill people. Their policies, they know, are going to kill people. They have experts telling them, don't do this all the time because it's going to kill people. It's going to kill children. And the thing is, they don't care because of one of two reasons. One, because if they cared, it would be harmful to their career in the Trump administration. Or two, they are high on their own supply and genuinely think that all of the anti-science stuff that they're peddling is legit. And it's just not. It's not backed up by any kind of science or data or, testing. They've just basically imbibed eugenics from the 1800s and decided that they're going to make it their whole personality, And three, money. Number one was money, they lose their job in the Trump administration, they lose their money, I'm pretty sure RFK Jr. is really that stupid. Yeah, I think RFK Jr. is high on his own supply. He's got a literal hole in his brain from a brain parasite. So, again, we shouldn't be taking him at his word on anything. It's eugenics. Survival of the fittest is something they say all the time. Again, eugenics. Exactly. And there really needs to be some kind of reckoning in this country with the fact that eugenics as an idea never really went away. It just got deeply embedded into our school system. It got deeply embedded into a lot of aspects of our culture and governance, and we need to reckon with that at some point. It is something that we need to excise from society because it is, frankly, incredibly destructive. You know, it's worth mentioning that eugenics was largely developed as a scientific or pseudoscientific argument in favor of slavery. You know, like in favor of the racialized nature of slavery here in America. Like Americans, by and large, pioneered eugenics as a concept. This idea of like, oh well, indigenous people are a lesser being, and you know, the African Americans are a lesser being, and we pioneered a lot of this stuff. And the eugenics movement then jumped over to Germany, and Hitler pulled a lot of his ideas out of how the United States was doing stuff back in the 30s. And we really have never reckoned with that as a society. And it's something that everything that is happening right now, we really need to reckon with in order to heal as a society, as a culture, as a people, you know? God. Yeah, Hitler loved Henry Ford, always worth mentioning. But we've got effectively a growing outbreak in South Carolina of measles. It's gonna kill it. It is killing people. Hey, let's check in with other health related news from the Trump administration. Oh, what's that? What's that? The Trump administration had cut $600 million in health funding from 4 states. Which states? California, Colorado, Illinois, and Minnesota. It's almost like this guy is straight up just waging a war on the people of America, specifically the different places in America that he doesn't like. It's genuinely insane. Funds are administered through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They include grants given to states for a variety of purposes, including hiring staff, modernizing data systems, and managing disease outbreaks. Some programs are aimed at the needs of specific communities. Nearly 2/3 of the funding is unspent money allocated to state and local public health departments in California. These grants are being terminated because they do not reflect agency priorities. About 24 of the grants were aimed at curbing HIV and other sexually transmitted infections. Again, it's just eugenics. It's just eugenics, and it's specifically weaponized eugenics to punish those who would oppose the Trump administration. It is, you know, an attempt to subvert our democracy in a way. Like, this just keeps happening. It's not just any one thing, you know, whether it is withholding disaster relief funds, whether it is, you know, encouraging the spread of preventable illnesses, and then slashing programs that prevent preventable illnesses in states. Like, this is being done on purpose. It is retribution. It is specifically an attempt to punish those that Donald Trump doesn't like. And again, and I want to make this clear, you cannot escape culpability for this if you're just a run-of-the-mill Republican in elected office, because they're all co-signing everything that Donald Trump does. It's really embarrassing. But, like, again, none of this is popular. That's kind of the thing. Like, this revenge crusade that Donald Trump has been on, this attempt to weaponize the federal government against states that, you know, they just don't like, this is not really an effective means of attack. It's making people really fucking mad, because it turns out there are people in blue states who are Republicans who are now suddenly realizing, oh shit, these guys were never for us. These guys are actually hurting all of us. I don't think he cares if he's popular or not anymore. I think he might. But let's take a look at one more thing. The Trump administration removes rainbow flag from Stonewall National Monument. So, yeah, just as an FYI, they're now removing the pride flag from the Stonewall Monument. And, like, again, a lot of this stuff they have tried to tailor towards going after communities and states and groups that they don't like. That single-minded focus on destruction, might yield some results in terms of destroying. It doesn't really do much when it comes to making people like you. People tend to like you for the things you do for them, not the things you do against other people. There are, of course, exceptions. And of course, like if you ask most Republicans, they will say they're not super in favor of all this LGBTQ stuff. But the fact that the Trump administration is spending its time doing stuff like, pulling down pride flags while offering nothing else whatsoever to their base, it's starting to seem really one note to them. And I think, coupled with the fact that Donald Trump is going full soup brain syndrome, it's a big problem for them, right? Here's just a Truth Social post from earlier today. As everyone knows, the country of Canada has treated the United States very unfairly for decades. I'm going to stop there. Everybody does not know that, actually. Most people in the United States have a very positive view of Canadians and Canada as a concept. So this attack on Canada is just insane. It's just, again, Donald Trump doesn't like Canada because they're telling him no. Now, things are turning around for the USA, and fast. But imagine, Canada is building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. They own both the Canada and the United States side, and of course, built it with virtually no US content. President Barack Hussein Obama stupidly gave them a waiver so they could get around the Buy American Act and not use any American products, including our steel. Now, the Canadian government expects me, as President of the United States, to permit them to just take advantage of America. What does the United States of America get? Absolutely nothing. I'm going to pause there. The United States of America would get a huge piece of infrastructure that would connect Michigan to Canada and allow more trade and commerce to take place. Some of the obvious benefits of building a land route to travel back and forth. Yeah, literally, Donald Trump is complaining about being sold a free bridge. Ontario won't even put U.S. spirits, beverages, and other alcoholic products on their shelves. They're absolutely prohibited from doing so. And now, on top of everything else, Prime Minister Carney wants to make a deal with China, which will eat Canada alive. Well, okay, but the thing is, they aren't putting American spirits and beverages on the shelf because Canadians aren't buying it anymore in order to protest America, because this dipshit is ruining our relationships with other countries around the globe. It's very stupid. It's very, very stupid. I hate this guy. And, I think even conservatives can begin reading this and understand this is stupid as hell, just on the face of it. But okay. We'll just get the leftovers. I don't think so. The first thing China will do is terminate all ice hockey being played in Canada and permanently eliminate the Stanley Cup. I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, Republicans? Hey, conservatives who hate watch my channel? What the fuck? Genuinely, do you have an explanation for this other than Donald Trump is going insane and should be removed from office? I'm sorry. China isn't going to outlaw ice hockey. Number one. Number two, they couldn't if they tried. And number three, China isn't Canada. China can't unilaterally make the laws of Canada. That's not how trade deals work, actually. That's actually more what Donald Trump is trying to do to Canada. To control Canada via trade deals. China's been gunning for that cup for years. Yeah, permanently eliminate the Stanley Cup. Oh man, we all know Xi Jinping. He's been looking at that cup, coveting it. He's gonna be drinking out of it by the end of the year. The tariffs Canada charges us for our dairy products have, for many years, been unacceptable, putting our farmers at great financial risk. I will not allow this bridge to open until the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them, and also, importantly, Canada treats the United States with the fairness and respect we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately. With all that we have given them, we should own perhaps at least one half of this asset. The revenues generated because of the U.S. market would be astronomical. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. What possible benefit do you get for owning half of a bridge that, to my understanding, is not a toll bridge? It's just a bridge. It's just like, why would you? Like, this is just crazy. This is just an insane thing to argue. You want half the share in a bridge? Okay, so you want to pay half the upkeep for this piece of infrastructure? That actually sounds pretty fair, but I don't think that's what he's arguing. I think he's thinking of it as if it's like some kind of investment that will reap us huge rewards in the future if we get half of it. Master Negotiator 5D chess. Yeah, no kidding. Now, I will also point out here one last thing. That Donald Trump knows that he is not coming off well towards his base. I saw polling earlier today. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, this polling right here. Pew Research came out with new polling earlier today. Compared with early 2025, fewer white evangelicals now have confidence that Trump acts ethically in office. And what we're seeing is a decline, a meaningful decline in white evangelical support of Donald Trump's policies. This is insane. I want you to just take a look at this graph. Like, in the span of the past year, Donald Trump has lost 8% of white evangelicals who support all or most of his policies. They've lost 15% of white evangelicals who believe that Donald Trump acts extremely confidently in ethical office. God, I am off today. Wow. Lost 15% among folks who think that that he acts ethically. It's, how is that number not zero? This is his strongest base. The
thing with the redneck caps is kind of cool. Good to see Norway showing solidarity with Minnesota.
Hell yeah. I do like the redneck caps. They're cool. To really put that into perspective, this is his strongest base. Like, when we're talking about like the unshakable number of people who support Donald Trump, this is supposed to be that unshakable base. And even this unshakable base is being shook. And I think that the Trump administration is starting to catch on to that, and they seem to be panicking a little bit. And I only say that because this is an actual real post made to the whitehouse.gov website. Don't be a panikin. We're winning, and we're not slowing down. And if you don't know what a panikin is, it is a panicky Republican. That's what panikin means. Look, you don't post something like this without things going very poorly. Under President Donald J. Trump's leadership, this administration is smashing through the chaos and destruction left by Democrats and unleashing the most aggressive pursuit of the America First agenda in history. While the fake news and radical left collude to distract, depress, and divide, they're simply lying to mask the undeniable truth. America is safer, stronger, richer, and more secure than at any point in decades. And I just have to say, like, if you have to say that, you don't believe that your base knows that, right? Yeah, this is like hitting the panic button. You know, we're not panicking, you're panicking. Most Republicans aren't sitting there thinking that we're safer and stronger and richer than we were a year ago. You know, Most people aren't feeling that way in America at the moment. Sorry, the panicking button, you're right. Don't take the bait. New victories pour in daily as President Trump delivers on his promises and rebuilds the foundation for long-term success in the greatest nation on earth. Here are a few things to celebrate from just the past few days. It's literally like a newsletter. It's crazy. Like, no, guys, there's a lot you can be excited about. We know you're not excited right now, but look at all of the things we've done for you over the last few days. Stock market explodes and retirement accounts soar. Number one, saying stock market explodes doesn't really seem like the greatest thing. God, I didn't mean to click on anything there. But oh wow, all-time high in the stock market. Good thing most Americans don't own stocks, huh? Most Americans experience no benefit from the stock market doing well. ICE hammers criminal illegals. And it's just like, ICE arrested 650 illegals in West Virginia. In Minnesota, Operation Metro Surge has already taken over 4,000 illegal criminal illegals off the streets, and it's not stopping. Oh, that's really interesting. I guess we'll have to take a look back at all of the ICE drawdown in Minneapolis stories that the media has been running and talk about how they're bullshit, but we'll do that later in today's show. And I'll just mention something here, which is that you can't believe anything that they say through their official lines of communication. You cannot believe a single word of what they say when it comes to immigration arrests. Specifically because an arrest does not equate to a deportation. And it does not equate to be like someone being held in detention, because a lot of the people they're arresting and taking off the streets are, in fact, US citizens. A lot of the people that they are detaining get released because they were illegally arrested in the first place. And, in fact, these people had a legal reason to be here, a legal justification for being here. So these numbers are hilariously padded, by the way. But I also just want to point out, like, 4,000 is the number that they're touting for Minnesota. Stephen Miller wanted 3,000, like, detained and deported per day. No, wait, was it 3,000 per day? 3,000 per month, sorry. They've been here for several months. It's been multiple months that ICE has been here. God. Misspeaking while doing a show is just the best feeling. Ending the barbaric mutilation of kids. Oh, yeah. The Trump administration strong-armed the largest children's hospital in Minnesota into stopping providing care for trans kids by threatening all of their funding if they continue to provide treatment for trans kids, and absolutely infuriating that they caved in and still have the audacity to talk about how they provide life-saving care to all kids, because very clearly they don't. And, like, the other thing that they list here is like, oh, well, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons came out to oppose genital surgeries for children. What they don't say is the American Society of Plastic Surgeons did so based on the Trump administration's bogus report about the effects of gender-affirming care for trans youth. They literally just were like, well, the bogus data that you cited that heavily draws from the Cass report, which has been largely debunked, says that this is wrong, so I guess we're not going to oppose the Trump administration. It's literally an anti-science position. Actual data does not, in fact, back this move up at all. But I also just want to take a moment to say, oh, okay, so far we have the stock market is doing really good, something that most Americans do not benefit from. And then we have, okay, you're arresting a lot of people, and you're denying children medical interventions, and oh, wow, the Federal Appeals Court says that you can mass detain people. So okay, so we have concentration camps validated by the state. Super cool. Super cool. Oh wait, the goal for ICE was 3,000 immigrant arrests per day. It's nice to know how big they're failing that goal. crime drops to new record lows. This, by the way, is not in any way related to any policy whatsoever that Donald Trump has passed. Just in case anyone is wondering, like, what did Donald Trump do to lower crime? He did literally nothing. Everyday costs continue moderating, which is not, in fact, that prices are going down. So your prices are still continuing to go up, but just not as fast. And also, we're arresting more and more people and have set the stage for mass arrests and incarceration. And the stock market's doing good. So, because it's being propped up by like 9 AI stocks. But, sure, everything's going great in Trump's America. Don't be a panikin. It's just like none of this in any way helps any single person, Republican or Democrat, in this country whatsoever. It doesn't help you. Having, 650 folks rounded up by ICE in West Virginia does not, in fact, bring the coal mine back. It doesn't bring the factory back. It doesn't bring your small town in West Virginia back from the brink of destruction. Life is going to keep on going as things get more expensive and more people move out to the big city. Like, it is not, in fact, getting better for you. In fact, everything in this letter to the American people is actually about how life is getting worse for you. Because now we have a federal government that is going around looking for people to mass round up and looking for places to build mass detention centers to operate as concentration camps. And I guess, oh wow, they're generating new jobs. Yeah, those new jobs are going to be working as a concentration camp guard. Congrats. Well, maybe that will save your small coal mining town. I doubt it. But I don't think that's generally what people have in mind when they think of bringing the economy back to life in the overlooked parts of America. It's just, this is where we're at. Like, the Republican Party knows it is so cooked that this is the best they can offer. It's genuinely pathetic. And I think as time goes by, more and more people are getting angry as hell. And even the conservatives who were previously MAGA, I think a lot of them are contemplating staying home in any of the elections that are coming up. And I think we're seeing that when it comes to a lot of the special elections, where we're seeing these, 30, 40 point swings in some cases. It is insane what we're seeing. So, all that being said, I think that Donald Trump is not having a good week here. Anyway, what do you think let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe. And folks, we need to get organized because we need to fight back against this. We need to actually fight back against this, not just in the Republican Party, in the general election. We need to fight back against this in the primaries within the Democratic Party, because there is a certain subset of Democrats that is perfectly content to allow Donald Trump to steamroll every single norm we have up to the point of fascism, and maybe a little bit beyond that, if it means that they think they can get like one extra point in the election. And we need folks who are going to be dedicated to making things better, not making things worse, even if it is convenient for them politically. So, folks, join your local Dems, radicalize them to more progressive policies, and also join your local DSA and make them more effective. Okay? We got folks in this community who can help you do that. Join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your Dems, reach out to GamerG for help with your DSA. And also, folks, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested on cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Folks love it. It is non-tucking lingerie. Check it out. Link should be down in the doobly-doo. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.